So you're making your first game, right? And you see all these indie developers who are selling millions of copies of their game, and you're thinking, well, that's not me. I can't go viral. What's the point of making games then if I can't go viral? Well, here's the thing. You don't need to. In order to make a full-time income from games, it's a lot simpler than that. The trick is, well, we're gonna get into that. I had a super candid conversation with the indie veteran Jake Birkett, who started making games in the 90s. He's stuck to one simple formula for his titles and just did that over and over and over for decades. And it paid off year after year, supporting his family. I mean, can you imagine that? Sitting in your home office, making games from your own brain and getting paid to do it for decades. This is a clip from the full-length podcast, and Jake breaks down how he has made a sustainable career without a viral hit, and perhaps how you can do it too. And by the way, if you want to quickly jump into game dev, there's this sweet new platform called Viverse, which is the generous sponsor of the podcast. It's a platform designed for developers and creators to publish and share interactive projects and games, and it's completely free to use. Whether you're building in Unity, Godot, A-Frame, 3.js, or any other web-compatible engine, or even experimenting with AI coding, Viverse makes it incredibly easy to share your amazing creations with anyone with the click of a button. You don't need to worry about setting up servers or infrastructure, since Viverse includes features like multiplayer, matchmaking, cloud saves, leaderboards, custom avatars, all right there out of the box. One thing I really like is the real-time engagement tracking. You can actually see how many people are interacting with your creation to see what's working and what's not working. Publishing is fast, there is no gatekeeping, and you stay in control of your own work. And if you're looking to share your project that you've been working on with the community, the platform makes it easy to do it. You can check out Viverse by using our special link, viverse.com/brush, so you can try out some of the experiences yourself or share one of your projects with the world with the ease of a click of a button. Click the link below to check it out. I think, talk about a philosophy that both I think you and Jeff Vogel share, and frankly, I share as well. One of the big things that I talk about on my channel a lot is because some people will be like, Thomas, you're not a game developer. Where's your viral game? Where's your viral game? And I'm like, you know, number one, at least I'm releasing games, but number two, you don't need a viral game to make a career out of this. That's, I think you and Jeff share that opinion, which is, you'd much rather make a game that's solid as opposed to trying, and to quote you, you said, avoid rolling the one big die and getting a one.
Yeah.
And instead learn to roll, I guess, make smaller games and learn to make just games that are just profitable as opposed to going all in on one big game. Can you explain that philosophy a little bit more?
Yeah. I mean, it also comes from a place of limitation in a sense that I've never had a lot of money or come from money or had partner that's earning loads of money or something. So I've had to make a business which works. Okay. And I think Jeff's the same. He's had to make a functional business. So that means not going out of business. And that means, you know, and that means making products which have a good chance of selling. And then once something works, you build upon that in a careful way, not taking too big a risk. Right. So, and what I mean is, like, if you spend years and all of your money on one big game, that game comes out and it flops, which frankly, 95% of games do, okay? Which is a stat people need to get comfortable with if they're even going to attempt this thing. And bear in mind that they could be in that 95%, right? You know, you can't make a big game, have it flop, go out of business. You need a plan B or whatever. So for me, I've not had a lot of money to make big risks. So what I've done is once something started working, I'm like, okay, how can I optimize this process? How can I make better games? How can I keep that fan base engaged by releasing fairly often? So they buy the next game and they buy the next game. They buy bundles on Steam of my games. That kind of stuff works really well. Yeah. So, and this is what Jeff's done. He's made many games in his series. He's got his hardcore fans, which buy all of his games. And then new people come along into the fold as well and keep him going. Yeah. And then you end up with a catalog of games that create a passive income in the background. So that's what our games do. They don't pay all of our bills, so I still have to release new games to get like a bump in income that dwindles. And then I'm like, oh my God, we need to release a new game. And then, you know, like, I wish I was a bit more sensible about it, but when we did Regency Solitaire 2, we pushed it out at the end of February because I needed to get paid in March by Valve, right? So it was that kind of down to the wire. And then it made some money and we're okay. And then, you know, But it's building up this back catalogue of games, this fan base, our presence online. There's also this whole kind of aspect of not just building up, a community of players, but a community of developers, which obviously you're very good at, but it is getting known online so that you get to know about opportunities and people give you information, and then you get funding opportunities and partnership opportunities. Like if I wasn't online and hadn't shared my game, last game, Shadowhand Solitaire, if I hadn't shared that, Nick from Night Signal Entertainment wouldn't have played it, and he wouldn't have emailed me and said, do you want to make this horror game, which might end up being our hit game finally, So you've got to put yourself out there, not just to, potential customers, but to the industry and all the people in it, and go to conferences and do talks and podcasts and blogs. Some people I know have never done that and have made lots of money. So there are exceptions, but I think this is the way to go.
Well, I don't like looking at the exceptions, to be honest, because it's like, I don't know, some guy won like $2 billion down the road from my house. It's like this famous gas station that's down the road from my house. And I don't look to him and go, well, then I'm going to go buy a lottery ticket, Mm-hmm. And so I kind of feel like that's true with in fact, it's more true with thinking about someone like Notch. It's like Notch is a 1 in a billion. Like nobody's ever done what he's done. Mm-hmm. I don't think. So I don't like to think that way. I'd much rather think, how do I make $50,000 to $100,000 this year on a game?
Sure. And that's what I've been doing. Yeah. And that's what I've been doing with our games. We make games that we'll sell to another audience. By the way, I enjoy making the games I make. I'm not like cynical about it. Like if I wanted to make more money, I'd probably go into free to play mobile games or something, or get a job in a bank or financial tech or whatever, right? There's easier ways to make money as programmers than games. Okay. But I love making games and being my own boss, and I love the games I make, and each one is different and improved, and there's something about it kind of unique and interesting, so it works for me.
Would you say that your career has been feast or famine? Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I do. I call it a roller coaster, like this, or
that's a funner way to describe it, right?
Or boom and bust years, right? So when we are working on a game and it needs to come out and it's taking too long, which has happened to me quite a few times, games take longer than you expect. Maybe you're familiar with this concept.
Oh yes.
That's the famine bit, right? That's the bust bit. And it's like, oh my God. And then you release the game, the money comes in and you look rich for a short bit of time. Not even rich, but there's some money in the bank. Woohoo.
Right.
And then it wears off and you're like, okay, the next game needs to come out. And that's why I've released 16 games over 20 years, right? I probably should have released 20 or 30, but
that's still very, very impressive that you've released that many games. So does this, this might be a personal question. If it is, just let me know. But because with me and my wife, you mentioned you were married. Me and my wife is just so like, I'm the one who freaks out during feast or famine. It's like, oh my word, I'm not going to make money. And then I make money and then it's fine. Granted, I also do YouTube and stuff and make plenty of money from YouTube as well. So I'm grateful for that sort of backup plan. But like, if I don't get a publisher for a while, because, I like to rely on publishers, I'll start freaking out. And we've been married for, I should know this, 11 years. And she has learned to be so chill about everything when it comes to the roller coaster.
That's nice.
She's sort of just chill on the roller coaster. And she really likes roller coasters, so maybe that's it.
Okay.
But she's super chill. I'm the one who's kind of freaking out. So I'm just curious what that's like with your family life and running this business the way you have.
Yeah. I should also mention I've got 2 kids who are now young men, right? So they're 24,
that's amazing.
21.
That's so good. I have 3 kids.
Okay, congrats. Yeah. And one of them's they both finished university. One of them's just done a game design and programming course at university.
No way.
And he uses Unity. So, and he's helping
Blasphemy.
Yeah. And he's helping me. Well, he's helping me with Blitzmax and Forbidden Solitaire a little bit at the moment. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah. Where was I going with this? Right. Basically that because I've had a family, that's also meant why I haven't wanted to take big risks. You understand?
Yeah.
Like I've needed to pay the bills and keep the family fed and clothed and whatever. So I've tried to make sensible decisions. Like if you've got either loads of money in the bank or someone else paying the bills or you're living with your parents, this is a good time to take some risks, right? And to experiment perhaps within indie games. But when you've got to earn your money each month, you tend to be a bit more sensible. And that's what I've had to do. Now, have I freaked out in my boom and bust times? or the bus times. Yes, I do. I definitely have that feeling. And at times it's been motivational to get me to finish something because I've needed the money. It's very simply that. My wife, she actually, probably has freaked out more than me at times. So there's been times when I've sort of said, actually, it's not as bad as that. I'm just giving you the information, but I've got a plan. It's okay. And one of the things I like to remind myself is I've survived 20 years. I think I can do it again. I can keep going. I've managed. I always find a way. I figure something out when it comes down to the wire. And I try to figure it out before it comes down to the wire, right? Like we've got a runway. I calculate how much runway I have based on the income and the money in the bank. And I say it's going to run out at this date. So I do all the kind of sensible stuff. But there's always this low level, oh my God, I could make money at any time and I have to go and get a job in a supermarket or whatever, right? So though I think I do contracting or business software or something first, but who knows? They might say, we don't want a 50-year-old guy go and work in the supermarket, right? So,
but you've also got a really big audience that will come to your aid, whether it's Patreon or Kickstarter. Probably. I think Jeff Vogel, he's like, look, when he wants to do another game, he'll do a Kickstarter campaign and it tends to do well. So I don't know. Maybe this is the thing that I've found. I used to be in my 20s. It used to be terrifying. The idea of being an entrepreneur, it just used to be terrifying to me. I did it. And I would do Kickstarter campaigns and sign with publishers and then do game sales and all this stuff. YouTube, I'm always doing all this stuff. I was spinning too many plates, all out of this paranoia that like, I don't want to have to go get a real job. Mm-hmm. And what I realized, I think one of my friends mentioned it to me. He goes, because I was freaking out about something regarding money. And my friend was like, Thomas, you know how to make money. You're fine. You'll figure it out. When you have 8 hours a day, let's say 8 to 10 hours a day, not working a desk job and you're just in your home studio, you're going to find a way to make money. Do you know what I mean?
You ought to.
It's plenty of time to find. Yeah, you should be able to, right? But I don't recommend anybody just quit their job.
No, and I think that's what I did initially, right? And I don't recommend that because it was very, very tough and we didn't make money for a while and we had to go into debt and stuff. And I got out of that with contract work and so on. No, I would suggest people make games whilst they can at home, if they're living with their parents or if they've got a job, and get good before taking a risk. And even then, don't risk everything maybe, or make sure it's money you are totally fine with never seeing again because that's game dev is tough.
Is more money in the bank or less money in the bank a better driver for creativity for you?
This is a tricky one actually, because I've definitely been motivated by no money in the bank, right? So, they say you've got to be hungry, right? Metaphorically, or hopefully not in reality, but
that's right. Yeah.
You've got to be hungry in order to sort of get stuff done. And that definitely works for me, but I don't think it's healthy. It's not a good feeling. And there have been other times when I've had money in the bank for a while at least. And I have felt totally happy to work on games and make games and just enjoying that process. And actually, that's where I want to get to again, right, with this current game. If that puts enough money in the bank that I can make games, perhaps even with less of an eye on the commercial aspect of the game. So I can get back to my roots as a hobbyist and make some things that I don't have to worry about being popular, actually. I could just have fun creating, because I've made games for 40 years. It's kind of in my blood now, and if I can do that with no pressure, that would be a fantastic retirement hobby amongst other things I do, right? So
retiring making games. So nothing different since you were in your 20s, I guess.
Yeah, who knows? But basically, just an older body that has to have some breaks from the computer occasionally, right? But so it can be a driver to have no money for motivation. It's not healthy, but it works. But I would suggest having a good schedule and just trying to stick to it anyway.
I totally agree. There's two things that really help me in my mid 30s now. They help me keep me sane, help me make me a good dad so that I'm not stressed out or obsessed after work or trying to work something out while my kids are trying to play with me. The two things that helped me, and I sort of figured these out in January this year, because I had a really hard year in 2024. It was really hard.
Sorry to hear that.
It was just publisher stuff, and the game industry sucked. But this year is awesome. And I could thank this podcast for that because it's helping support the studio. But the two things that helped me, number one, recurring revenue that is predictable. I mean, obviously that's a nice thing to have. But number two is like 5 months of savings, at all times, just cash, liquid, ready to go. So I found that's really, really helpful. And I understand that that's like a luxury, but that's what I was working towards last year and this year. Like, I got to get to a place where I have some kind of predictable income, because like with games, it's like you get a big pop here from a sale. You wait for Christmas, a Christmas sale or a Halloween sale, or you sign with a publisher and they pay you $300,000 but then you have to survive on $300,000 for 3 years, or a Kickstarter campaign where you do $50,000 and you've got to live on that for 6 months. Those are the pops. And my wife always calls those pops. She's like, you always get a pop. The problem with pops is they're so unpredictable and you never know when they're going to happen. You know what I mean?
And you think I might not get the next one, right?
I know. I always assume I'm never going to get it again,
Well, there's no guarantees. I mean, in a sense, actually, that can be the problem with if you rely on funding, like funds, like art funds or grants and things. Some of them are for very specific types of games. And then you would actually, I'm a bit worried about devs that might train themselves to only apply for this funding rather than training themselves on how to make a game that sells in the marketplace. That's a different type of thing, right? And then if that fund goes away or they're unsuccessful, they've got no business model, right? So it's a bit like if Steam said there are no more Steam keys. Sorry, imagine how many businesses would just go down the pan because they totally reliant on Steam, right? Yeah, I mean, for me, it's much nicer having some money in the bank, but then you have to make a project that you can complete within that time and be realistic and do all that kind of stuff. And that's happened to me. I've had many of these pops, as you call them. One of them was we did a deal with Epic for a free game several years ago. So that was a pop, right?
Congrats.
That was quite a nice
That's
pop. Awesome. Thank you. And occasionally a game that comes out that isn't a hit, but they're minor level pops on top of that predictable income, right? So, and when I look at the money in the bank plus the predictable income, I can then see what my runway is and when the money will run out, right? With a relative accuracy. And the other thing is, I'm not just reliant on Steam, right? So on my Patreon, we've got a pie chart, which I do every year, which shows Steam income, casual site income, which are not off Steam, like Patreon, Nintendo, consultancy, writing. So there's a whole load of different publishing. So we've got a whole load of different slices to this pie. And if any one of them, even if Steam went away, it wouldn't be a disaster. It wouldn't be great, but it wouldn't be a disaster. And we could keep going. We could focus on the other slices or find a new slice.
And by the way, if you want to quickly jump into game dev and perhaps maybe make your very first game, there's this sweet new platform called Viverse. It's a platform designed for developers and creators to publish and share interactive projects and games, and it's completely free to use. Whether you're building in Unity, Godot, A-Frame, 3.js, or any other web-compatible engine, or even experimenting with AI coding, Viverse makes it incredibly easy to share your amazing creations with anyone with the click of a button. You don't need to worry about setting up servers or infrastructure, since Viverse includes features like multiplayer, matchmaking, cloud saves, leaderboards, custom avatars, all right there out of the box. One thing I really like is the real-time engagement tracking. You can actually see how many people are interacting with your creation to see what's working and what's not working. Publishing is fast, there is no gatekeeping, and you stay in control of your own work. And if you're looking to share your project that you've been working on with the community, the platform makes it easy to do it. You can check out Viverse by using our special link, viverse.com/brush, so you can try out some of the experiences yourself or share one of your projects with the world with the ease of a click of a button. Click the link below to check it out.